Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Welcome. I'd like to say welcome to each and every one of you that you could be here today. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Give me a minute. So before we jump into it, we do have some theory to cover. So we're going to be just looking at that, and then we get right into making our herbal infused balm. Before we do so, let us pray. I know my sister prayed already, but I'd like to offer a word of prayer. Our Father and our God, we want to thank you. We give you all the glory, the honor, and the praise. We pray, oh God, that you may take full control and may whatever be done or said here be done to your name's honor and glory. Lord, we praise you and we love you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. I'm hoping everybody is seeing my screen. So, what we'll be doing here today, we are going to be learning about how to make your herbal balms and infused oils. And also, before we do that, we're going to just do a little introduction of the skin and what does natural means to you. Before we start anything, I'm going to ask you if you have formulated before, you just put a 1 in the chat. And if this is your first time, you're new, go ahead and put 2, please. I'm not able to see the chat, so my sister will have to help me here.
I'm seeing a few ones and I'm seeing a few twos.
Okay, awesome. So we have a blend in our on our platform here. That's awesome. All right, so let's continue. So before we go, my disclaimer. Any recipes and formulas provided to you are for demonstration purposes only. No testing has been undertaken unless otherwise specified, and the information that will be presented is for educational purposes only. Your use of this presentation is entirely at your own risk. All right, so God has given you a habitation to care for and to preserve in your best condition for his service and glory. Your bodies are not your own. And in 1 Corinthians 3, verse 16, it says, knowing not that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you. I do have a few quotes from the Spirit of Prophecy. Talks about our pores, and why I'm introducing this is because just to show you that whatever you put on your skin, and we all know already, it goes into our bloodstream. So the pores of the skin are like little mouths through which our body breathes, and impurities are constantly and gradually passing from the body through the pores. And if the surface of the skin is not kept in a healthy condition, the system is burdened with impure matters. And that's from How to Live. And then another one, it says, many are ignorantly injuring their health and endangering their lives by using cosmetics when they become heated. The poison is absorbed by the pores of the skin and is thrown in the blood. Many lives have been sacrificed by this means alone. And this is from the Health Reformer. And the last one talks about, this is from Testimony for the Churches, Volume 7, page 77, paragraph 1. It says, there are life-giving properties in the balsam of the pine, in the fragrance of the cedar and the fir, and of course, other health-promoting trees. So right here, I'm saying to you that our plants or herbs or trees, it has a lot of properties that are useful and can be used in making our own skincare. And we don't have to think about what's in our product when we buy it, right? If you're making your own, you know exactly what you're putting into it. All right. I'm gonna slow down because when I get excited, I know I go fast and I can get a little loud as well. So let me slow down a bit. All right, so I'm going to be just introducing you a little bit to the skin. I won't go in depth. So when starting out making natural skincare products, it is important to have a good understanding of the skin itself and what it needs to maintain health. The skin is the human body biggest organ, and it performs many important functions, and these are just a few. It helps to regulate your body temperature. Bacterial colonies on its surface forms parts of your immune system. The skin is one of the most important organ of elimination, sweating out minerals and waste products from the body. It acts also as an environmental barrier, preventing or water-rich body from drying out. And the skin absorbs substance applied topically, and we know that. And amazingly, even produces its own moisturizer called the sebum from specialized gland called sebaceous glands. All right, so the skin is roughly divided into three layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. The epidermis is the outer and the top layer that you can see, and it contains three different types of cells. And we're not going to get into those three types of cells today. The dermis, which is the deeper layer that houses important structure, blood vessels, sweat glands, nerves, and so on. And the hypodermis, subcutaneous tissue, it is mainly composed of fat cells. And the outer skin consists of these hard, dry cells for the protection of living tissue beneath them. Living cells are made up of up to about 70 to 80% of water, whereas normal air only contain about 1% of water. And the body intelligently surrounds itself with a layer of dead cells. And this is to protect the water-rich cell that's inside. And it takes around 4 weeks for the epidermis to become completely replaced. And that is why when you make something and you don't see the effect like in a week, give it some time. Give it up to 4 weeks, we normally say, right? The duration of the process increase as you get older. So having a basic understanding and knowledge of skin will allow you to produce or formulate your products that can target certain problem areas. All right, so I'm going to be asking a question because I want to know, what does natural means to you? I'm going to give you a minute to just drop it in the chat, write it, and I'm just going to take about three, my sister. So once you have three, you could just let me know what was said, and then we move on. What does natural means to you? Are we getting any, Brittany?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? I'm
It's
seeing one.
on.
Pure?
It's on the screen. Are you not seeing my screen?
Oh, yes, I wasn't reading the screen. Sorry. What does natural mean to you? Okay, Anisha said pure.
Okay. Anybody else? I take two more.
Brother Nicholas said it's from the earth. Joanna
Okay.
said from nature. I think Fernando said not from animals,
Okay. All right.
not
Thank you.
artificial, Fiona said.
All right. Thank you. All right. So I'll move on. So it is very simplistic and unrealistic to claim that everything prepared in a lab is unnatural. Because some people will view a natural ingredient as being picked from directly from a tree, like we're hearing from nature, and having undergone no chemical process. Whereas others take a more realistic view and are happy to accept some chemical process if they are going through natural derived processes, for example, or emulsifiers and or preservative. And to be frank, depending on what you're making, you are going to be needing your emulsifiers and your preservatives. And we do have natural emulsifiers and preservatives. So that's why I ask, what does natural mean to you? Because for some people, they don't want to know whether it's natural preservative or not. They don't want it in the products, right? So this is the stand we're taking here. All right, so I'm going to give you some main points that you must take into account when you're going to formulate. So always work in a clean environment. Always wash your hands before formulating. Always clean your equipment before and after. Always wear your personal protective equipment, and that's your gloves, your hairnet, your aprons. Always write down everything that you do in order to analyze what you have done afterwards. Make sure your work surface is clean. I've said that, can't say it enough. Clean all surface with, you can do it with warm soapy water, or you can use antibacterial wipes. You can also disinfect your surface and your tools using 70% isopropyl alcohol, and I put mine in a little bottle so I can just spray when I need it. And you do that before you use, and you wipe them down with lint-free cloth. Always make sure that your formula add up to 100%. And rule of thumb, always follow the manufacturer's instruction for use of ingredients. And I'm going to say where this is concerned, say for instance, I'm buying an ingredient in order to put in a particular product I'm making. The manufacturer will tell you what percentage should be in that formula. For example, they'll say you can go up to 0 to 2 or 3%. That means you cannot put more than what they ask you to put in that formula, right? Because should you put more, it may react to your skin or whatever other thing you have in there, and it could cause problems. So always follow your manufacturer's instruction for your raw ingredients that you're going to use. And also, anhydrous products generally won't need preservative. And we talk about anhydrous product, this is products that it doesn't have water in there, right? So your oils, your butters, if you should just melt them and use them, it doesn't contain water. And as such, they don't often use preservative. We don't put preservative in there unless they're open to potential for contamination. So, for example, the balm that we're going to be making later on, it's not going to have preservative, but what you're going to do when you're going to use it is that you're not going to dip your finger, dirty finger in it. So make sure your hands are clean when you're going to put it in your balm. And another thing too, we don't want to introduce water. So you're going to make sure that your hands is also dry, right? Because by introducing water into an anhydrous product without preservative, it could breed bacteria, yeast, mold, and so on. All right, so we have been talking about researching your ingredients. So it is very important to research the ingredients that you are going to use to make whatever product you're making. Make sure you know the common name for the thing that you're doing. INCI name is the scientific name. Other trade names, and we talk about recommended usage already. So if the manufacturer says 3% at most you should use in that formula, that's what we're going to use. Is it soluble in water or oil? It depends. So you do your research to find that out. Dermal limits is normally talking about essential oil, because in essential oils, they are very potent, right? And so you don't want to use too much because it could cause your skin to be sensitive and lots more. Is this ingredient that you're researching, is it heat sensitive? And when we talk about heat sensitive, we're talking about, we have some botanical extracts that we use to make our products, right? Some of those are very heat sensitive, and by that I mean if you should apply too much heat, that would cause the extract to lose its potency or the properties, right? So you could actually, the heat could actually kill the things in it that you would want to pull out from your botanicals. So you want to know the melting point as well. What temperature does it melt? All right, because I do have an emulsifier that melts at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and you would not want to put a heat sensitive oil with that emulsifier to melt, because of course, while that is going all the way up to 80 degrees, then your oils, if it is heat sensitive, will lose all the properties that's in there. So you got to be careful, do your research. pH range, if applicable. We're not going to be doing anything with pH range today or for this series. Restriction or contraindication. We know that there are some things that just don't go together, would cause some chemical reactions. So again, you have to research your ingredients, and also other forms. So these ingredients that I'm looking at, does it comes in tincture? Is it powder? Is it oil? And it depends on what do you like using. I like to use the oil. You might like to use powder or herbs. So it depends on what you like to use with this particular ingredients. All right. And the last thing, give any extra detail on your ingredients, such as the type of product it is used in. Some things that you purchase can be used for hair care and skincare together. Some might just be for hair care, some might just be for skincare. So again, it depends on your research and ingredients. So these are what you will need today. I did send them out on our little list. Protective clothing, bain marie, and you might wonder what that is. It's all it is a water bath, and I'm going to, show you what it is. So it's like a pan. I don't know if you're seeing me because I'm not seeing anybody right now. Okay, so it's a pan with some water in it, right? So you put that on your hot plate or whatever it is heat that you're gonna use, and then your ingredients you would just put it in that right there. That's what we call a water bath or bain marie. So we're gonna need source of heat. I'm using a hot plate, Pyrex bowl or glass beakers, thermometer, and I'm using this as my thermometer. I find this to be very useful. I could just shoot it and just look at the temperature. Also, you are gonna need a stick blender, scale is a must, pipette, whisk, spoon, spatula. We don't really need pH for today. Electric hand whisk, heat resistance mixing bowl, and of course your package of your choice. Okay, we're coming down to getting into what we're gonna do. So this is our skincare formulation tip. The most important rule in skincare formulation is to write it down. We would say if you didn't write it, it didn't happen. Sometimes we make a really great product because we didn't write it down. We don't know how to do it again, right? That means it didn't happen. So before you rush to your kitchen, make sure you write it down. I always write it down. If a formula is coming to me, I just write it down and then I go make it. And then from there, you can tweak it. Okay, this didn't work. Maybe I need to use less of this or more of that. That's how we do it, right? And it's important to work in grams or percentage only. So I've seen this a lot of time where people you're using ounces, you're using let me see, drops, you're using cups. That doesn't work. All right. So for formulation purpose, we use either grams or percentage. That's all we use. Okay, there's a little thing about shea butter, and that's why I put it here. So shea butter, it's a great butter. People use it all the time. And it can become a bit grainy when heated, and that's because the butter and the wax it can crystallize because of the different component that makes up that butter. So based on the component that makes up shea butter, it melts at different temperature, and it also heats at different temperature, solidifies at different temperature, and as such it will cause crystallization when so say some is heated, some of those components heated, some not heated yet, or some is cooling down, some not cooled down yet, and as such by the time everything is cooled down you'll get a little grainy or crystallization in your shea butter. So the key is to mix it, right? So you don't get that into it. So you have to mix it very well. All right. You can also put it in the fridge to cool. That will help it not to get any form of grain in it at all. And we did an experiment where we had to do different shea butter. We just pour it, leave it on the counter. We put some in the fridge. We mixed some, and the one that was put in the fridge or the one that was mixed properly, we had no grains in those. But the ones that you just melt it and pour it, of course you're going to have some grains in it. And the last thing, you're going to use your formulation sheet like the one that I'm showing you below to create your formulation. And so this is how your sheet should look. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are like how many ingredients you're using in your product. Where you see stage, that's I'm going to explain that later on, where that's where you're putting, okay, what are some of the things that can go together, right? So we normally split them into, we're like liquid and oils and butters, right? So what are some of the things that can go together? And another thing too, what are the heat sensitive ingredients? So you want to separate all of those. and that's what we use for stage. We have here foundation ingredients. Those ingredients are the backbone ingredients, right? Those make up majority of what we're going to use. We have active botanicals, and those are our plants, our herbs that we're going to be using. We have functional ingredients. Those are the ones like beeswax. They're playing a part in your formulation, all right? And they can either be humectants, meaning pulling water to the skin, moisturizing, or additives, aromatherapy, uh, aromaticals, and those are like your essential oils. And this is just what I was talking about. I'm not going to go through this. All right, so let's get into how to make your herbal infused balms. We're going to take the questions at the end. So let me get my gloves on.
As you're moving around, Tanisha, could you tilt your screen just a little bit now? We're not seeing your basin.
Okay.
Yes, that's much better. We're seeing your everything now. Thank you.
So all my areas are already clean. I've weighed out everything already, but I will show you so you can see how to. Now, what I realized, because we're doing an herbal infused oil balm today, I am going to show you how is it that you infuse your herbs. You might not be able to infuse your herbs and use it today, right? You might have to infuse it, put it down, and once it's fully infused, then you can go back, look at this recording, and go ahead and infuse your oils. I think there's 2 or 3 slides. So these are the herbs that we're going to be using today. I'm not going to go through all of them. We're going to use arnica, we're going to use chamomile, we're going to use chickweed, we're going to use calendula, and marigold. Calendula is sometimes called pot marigold, but marigold is not the same thing as calendula. And you notice I put a picture right there, and then we're going to use St. John's wort. And we do have, I'm not sure why I'm seeing this on my screen. Okay. These are the properties. You can read them for yourself. Some of them helps with acne, some of them helps with eczema, some of them helps with skin problems, inflammation, you name it, right? I'm just gonna read the top part. It says a herbal infused oil, also known as a macerated oil. It's a carrier oil that has been infused with a herb or a flower. By letting the herb and the flower soak or infuse in the oil for a certain period of time, we can extract many of the plant's powerful healing properties into a useful form. And there's a chart below, and this is a chart we have been talking about. So you can take a screenshot of it, and those are you don't have to use all the herbs, because on the thing I sent out, I said you could just choose your favorite herb if you want to. I know a lot of you like calendula and chamomile, so those are good ones too. All right. So I'm just going to go through how to do it, and then I actually show you how to do it. So to make a macerated oil or infusion, you're going to place your chosen plant material, dried flower or herbs, in a clean, sanitized glass jar. Next, you're going to cover the plant material with your chosen carrier oil, and that could be olive oil, sunflower oil, sweet almond oil, jojoba oil, or even coconut oil. Those are good choices or options. Make sure that the oil covers all the plant material. No, the traditional method involves placing this dry plant material and oil in an airtight glass jar and leaving it in a warm, sunny spot for up to 3 weeks or longer. And you're going to shake that mixture every day. Now, there's a faster way to do it. So, if you don't want to wait that long, you can speed up the process using a bain marie, like right here. So, this water bath or the double boiler. So, what you could do is when you put that in there, you could but make sure the heat is not that high. and you let it sit for an hour. Or another thing that you could do is to use a slow cooker and use it overnight. Let it sit overnight. But the key here is to keep the heat as low as possible, as overheating could damage both your oils and your plant materials, right? So during maceration process, remember to gently stir or shake your mixture every day. This encourages the transfer of oil-soluble compound from your plants into your oil, creating a more potent therapeutic maceration. Then you're going to strain and you're going to package the oil. And this could be kept 6 to 12 months. And I would advise too that after you strain, you put a little vitamin E oil in it. Make sure it says tocopherol. That's the real vitamin E oil. I remember when I just started formulating, I was looking ingredients and I was looking vitamin E oil, and I purchased a vitamin E oil after to realize that it's not the right vitamin E oil. So here is somebody making some oils, putting some oils together with a little tocopherol in there and call it a vitamin E oil. That's not what I wanted. So what you want is the real vitamin E oil, and this is tocopherol, right? Nothing but vitamin E oil. All right. So this is the balm that we are going to be making. But before we go to the balm, I am going to be showing you how to put this all together. So you could take a screenshot. Let me see if I can. No, I'd love to see you guys, but I can't. But I'm just going to go anyways because just so you're seeing me. All right, so I'm going to start off. Brittany, let me know if you're seeing. So I open my jar. I'm using
A
this
little
jar.
bit tilted, just a little bit. Well, we're not seeing. Okay, if you go back a bit, we'll see you. But yeah,
You
you're
see my
all
jar though.
yes,
The
yes,
most
yes.
important thing, you're seeing the jar,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All right, so we have our herbs. So this is the St. John. So I'm using all the herbs that I showed you earlier on the chart. I'm using all 5 herbs. So this is St. John's wort. This is chickweed. This is calendula. This is, no, this is chamomile. Sorry, this is calendula. And this is arnica, right? Now my jar is small. I don't know if all of these herbs are going to fit, but I'm going to see. So I'm going to start pouring into my jar. Are you seeing me pouring in?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I don't want to put everything in there until I know that all of my herbs is there, and then I can say, okay, let me put some more of this in or some more. I just want to make sure that I have a little of everything in there first. Let's see. I don't have a little of everything, but then it's getting crowded. All right. So I don't have everything. My arnica is yet to go in. It's not in. Didn't want to fill up my jar all the way. Just pushing it down. Make some room. All right. So I guess that's going to be it for mine. And then I am going to be using, no, I've already infused my oil just for time's sake. So when I was infusing my oil, I used jojoba oil and sunflower oil to do this infusion right here. All right, so that's what I'm going to use to make the balm. But then for this infusion, I'm going to use olive oil. So I'm just going to use some olive oil. This is what I have at hand right now. So I'm just going to pour some in. And we want to make sure that we have the oil all the way down and also to cover the material as well. So make sure you have something to use to push it down like that. And you don't want too much air the top, so as much as possible make sure you cover it. And then of course you're gonna close it tightly. And don't forget to put a label on it and label what is inside. All right. And then you're going to just sit this down for, like I said, and write the date on it. So this is a mason jar. This is a small one. You're going to write today's date on it so you know the exact date you did this maceration. So you'll know when 3 weeks or 6 weeks comes. So you can know when you need to. And you just shake it like daily, right? And by doing that, all of these precious plant properties is going to go into your oils. And you're also going to see the color coming out in that. All right, so even my oil right here that I make, beautiful, beautiful color. All right, so with that said, I am going to now go to our balms. We're going to make our balm. Let me know if I'm good with time.
You're great.
Yeah, so, okay, so for mine, I use my infuser. I don't know, I'm sure you can see behind me. I do have an infuser, not telling y'all to get one, but this is what I use to infuse my oils and my botanical or herbal, my herbs. So, and you see a lot of herbs behind that right here, a lot of precious herbs that I have right there. So I just put it in and I'll infuse my oil right there. So for today, I'm just calling this the Calm Cure Balm. That's what I'm calling it today. You can have your own name, put your own name to it. So let me come back to the stage. If you notice the stage where I have A, and then I have BB, that's what I'm talking about. So these are the things that's going to go together, right? So my jojoba oil and my sunflower oil, my beeswax and my cocoa butter or mango butter can go together, right? And then your lavender and your vitamin E oil, those are heat sensitive. So you can't put them with those A up there, right? So they won't be going in your water bath. So I have my water bath on. So let us start. So the first thing we're going to do here, let me go through the process. You can take a screenshot of this and then I'll go back because I'm going to need to see the formulation that we're using. So formulation process, this is the process. Just want to see if I'm good with time. All right, so you're going to put all your ingredients except for your essential oils and your vitamin E in a water bath. And you're going to allow it to melt gently. You're going to remove from the heat and allow it to cool a little. And then when mixing and cooling it to about 40 degrees Celsius, that's the time you're going to add your essential oils and your vitamin E. And you're going to stir and then you're going to pour into your container of choice. All right. I'm gonna take some questions afterwards. I'm sure y'all would have questions. So while I'm going to wait on the thing to be melted, maybe Brittany can look in the chat. Like I said, I can't see the chat. All right. So she probably can tell me what's there. All right. So are you seeing my scale and my beaker? Uh-oh.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So you are going to put your beaker on your scale. You're going to turn it on. Make sure it says, so the unit, make sure it says gram, because remember we're making the things in grams, right? And if you notice, let me talk a little bit about my percentage ingredients. All right, so you have your ingredients, so everything should add up to 100%. Now we were going to make 100 grams, but because I know that you won't be able to actually use your infused oil today, I just cut it down in half. So instead of making 100 grams, you are going to make 50 grams today. And then as soon as your oil is infused and you have the properties in the oil that you need, you can go ahead and go back and make your 100 gram. All right. And this, of course, is recorded, so you will have it. So make sure it is on grams and it's 0. Your scale is 0. You can tear it in order to 0. So we are going to put our jojoba oil. No, like I said, my infused oil here, I did use jojoba and sunflower oil to infuse together. So in this bottle that says jojoba oil, it's both jojoba and sunflower infused oil. That's what it is right now. So instead of me putting 20 grams and then I put 13 grams, I'm just going to go ahead together. So I'm on, I don't know if you can see my cursor. I'm on this side that talks about 50 grams. This is the side I'm using. That's 33 grams. So 20 plus 13. So 20 grams of jojoba oil and 13 grams of sunflower oil. That's going to give me 33 grams. So I'm going to weigh 33 grams of oil in my beaker. When it's coming down, you have to be careful so you don't go over. So you just triple it. 33. That's 32. All right, awesome. 33. So that's my oil. And then I already weigh my beeswax, and this is 9 grams. I'm going to pour it in there. I'm just going to scoop it out. And then it says, I'm using not mango butter, sorry. I'm using cocoa butter. You can use mango butter. You can use shea butter, like I said, but just make sure you stir it very well so it does not get too grainy on you. So I already weigh my mango butter, and that was 7.5 grams. I just added to that right there. And then that's all my A's. So all my A's, and that's what I'm talking about where the stage is concerned. All my A's are in this beaker. So I'm just going to set it down in the water bath for it to melt, right? And then we continue that process of putting our sensitive ingredients, which is our essential oils and or vitamin E oil. Britt, could you go into the chat while we're waiting on that to melt? We can take a few questions.
Yes. So one question, Joanna asked if you could share the presentation after it. I'm assuming she's talking about your PowerPoint. If you could share the PowerPoint with us afterward.
We are being recorded, so
You could
you
go
could
back
get
to the
go back
recording.
to the recording.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Sister Anisha asked, what if you use coconut oil and it solidifies? Should you reheat?
Yes, you can reheat it a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm assuming you're asking about you're making the balm, everything is in it, even the ingredients that we said is heat sensitive, but
Mhm.
it solidifies too quick. I'm not sure if that's what you're saying, but if that's what you're saying or not, you could heat it just a little bit, right? Especially if you have those sensitive ingredients in there and you don't want to damage them. Yes, you can always reheat. Sure.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions as we're waiting for the beeswax and the butter to melt?
All right, I'm just trying that. Are you seeing my water bath?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So stirring. Right, the butter is melt. We're just waiting on the wax to melt. And of course, you can to see how hot the thing is. And this is 46. That means the butter melts very quickly. All right, while waiting on that, any more questions?
Does anyone else have any questions? Anything that maybe was not clear so far? If not, then I guess everything was okay. Okay, that's actually okay. So I think everything is clear so far by God's grace. We
All right,
are 100%.
awesome.
So praise God.
All right, so we're waiting on this to cool. And I must say for the For next week, we are going to be making our body butters. And if you have all of the ingredients that you were told, then you won't need to get anything else for, because basically week one ingredients would have covered all the body butter ingredients. And then I'll push out the other 2 weeks, and that's going to be for your deodorant and your soap. So if you want to follow along while we're making those, make sure you have your ingredients and you come ready and come with your questions too.
We have another question. Betty asks, vitamin E ingredient name. What's the name of the vitamin E?
All right. So like I was saying, so if you notice on even the page that I'm showing you, it says vitamin E and it says tocopherol. So that's the inky name, the scientific name for vitamin E. And like I said, I bought some vitamin E oil, and here I got oils that were put together, some carrier oils with a little tocopherol in there, and they call it vitamin E oil, and that's not it. So your pure vitamin E oil is called tocopherol. So if you want to buy pure vitamin E oil, make sure it says tocopherol. Anyone else? We're almost there.
Any more questions? I don't see any more questions, but one of our sisters, Sister Hadassah, she said that she made some deodorant last Friday. So praise
Awesome.
the Lord.
Awesome, Sister. Awesome.
Sister Burton. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hello, y'all. I just wanted to say, I'm glad you're doing this course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I never know nothing because I'm blessed to know how to make certain things already. I could learn, more.
Right.
Definitely, we can't exhaust everything. Amen. And so, with that
Right.
being said, just to make mention, I understand things are costly now, but
Mm-hmm.
even before inflation, I was very careful with much prayer of faith on reliable sources where to buy certain things from.
Right.
And that is a very key factor, based
Mm-hmm.
on the many things that are being adulterated or amalgamated
Right.
right in that sense. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
Yes. So yes, so like as you said, you have to be careful where you buy your stuff, right? So I normally get my things from cosmetic formulation shops that sell to cosmetic scientists, and I make sure those ingredients are and I the natural,
Right. And
right?
And
So
also, I could give Sister Brittany some resources to share with you that you can make available to others as well.
okay, that would be
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Can you take another question, Tanisha?
Yes, and I do have also some places that you can buy. I can provide that for you as well,
That
where
would
you
be
can get your stuff to buy,
right.
your natural things to buy.
Thank you.
Go
Sister
ahead.
Anita, you could go ahead. She has a question.
Good evening, sis. So I would have infused to make a hair butter, and I use shea butter as my base with some other oils, jojoba, and so on. And I have things like rosemary and fenugreek. You see the things on YouTube and
Right.
try to experiment. And so what happened is that I left it outside and it solidified, and it's been like for a week. So
Hmm.
should I reheat everything, melt it down, and
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
I'll strain it out? And I see that they put it back in the fridge, have it solidify a little bit more because you're talking about the crystallizing, and then
Hmm.
whip it. So would that be
Right.
correct to follow those instructions?
Yes. Yes. And next week when we're going to make body butter, it will be the same as making your hair butter that you're making right now. We are going to be using, I think we're going to be using shea butter in there. But yes, you melt it. Make sure you have to put it in the fridge for maybe like 10 minutes. Take it out, whip it, put it back in there, whip it again to get the texture that you want.
I guess my question would be, do you slowly heat it up if it has melted, or how do you heat it up to?
What are you talking about? What the question that she mentioned
Yeah.
earlier?
The question that she just asked, you said heat it up. How do we heat it up? Slowly or?
So you're gonna heat it slowly, like we talk about. You don't want high heat, right? So make sure, just like I have my heat here, it's not too high, and of course I melt, so it's all melted now. So we are going to get ahead of this.
That's
So this
right.
right here is saying 77 degrees. I can't put my heat sensitive ingredients in there. So I'm just gonna mix. So for instance, this was shea butter, right? You're going to just sit here and mix it and help it cool down evenly. So the aim is to cool it down evenly so it does not get grainy. Because like I said, you're gonna have some part of it cooling down real fast, some part not too fast, and as such, because of the different components that make it up, and that's why it's grainy. Now this is not shea butter, but I want to get it down to where I can add my heat sensitive ingredients. So I just stir it a little bit. I'm just going to leave it to cool a little bit. Make sure you have your containers ready to pour when it's that time. I'm going to turn off my heat.
Praise God, you had the good sister Tanisha.
Who is that?
Same sister Hadassah.
Okay.
Me a Jamaican too.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, yeah. And you are right. It should be on low heat so
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
don't get the molecular structure of the oils and stuff to be to change its composition
Right.
and things of that nature, as well as when you're stirring it, you don't want it clump up, not even grainy only, but clump up. Yeah.
All right. Yes, ma'am. That's it right there. So let's check to see what we're down to. All right, we're down to 62. We're moving from 77 to 62. I will keep on turning a little bit, leaving it to cool. And there are some exceptions to the rule. For example, when I'm making my deodorant, that solidifies very fast. If I let it go to 40 degrees, I'll probably have a solid before I even pour it in the container. So there is a little leeway. So if it reaches like 45 sometimes, or even a little bit above 45, you can put your stuff into it and quickly mix it and pour it into your container so it doesn't solidify on you. And like I have my heat off right now, and if it should get solidified like in here before I could pour it out in all the containers, all you have to do is to put back this right in the little warm water, and it would just heat it a little bit so you can pour it in. So that's another thing too. So we talk about the life-giving property in the balsam of the fir, the cedar, and I'm going to be using cedar wood and this right here, balsam fir needle. You can use lavender or your grapefruit essential oil if you have it. So these are what I'm going to use in mine. And we are using 0.25 grams. Guys, remember, we're cutting down everything. And with vitamin E oil, the real vitamin E oil, you don't use a lot. All right. So this is an antioxidant. So what it does too, and I don't know if I tell you, but you should, after you pour your oil out, make sure you add some vitamin E oil to it. That will help with allowing your oils not to be rancid. All right. So that will keep your oils a little bit. Yeah. All right. It's down to 56. We are getting there. And it's not solidifying. We want to reach that 40 at least, so we can put our sensitive ingredients in. And while we're doing that, these are my contacts, because we're down to the end of our presentation. So that's my website right there. my Instagram. I'm on TikTok as well. Well, I just got on there. And also Etsy, you just got on there too. But you can check those out as well.
You guys could go ahead and take a screenshot and you could check out our sister on her various platforms. As you're stirring and waiting for it to get down to the 45, is that the only way for us to get the temperature down by stirring, Tanisha?
Yes, at this point. No, it depends on what you're making too. Because when I'm making my lotion, I put it into ice bath, like a little water bath. So instead of just like this, but it would be cool water, right? You don't want that right now, based on what you're making. So we're making a balm, and you don't want it to cool down very fast, right? So all you do is you just simply stir it and be patient,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're
Mhm.
putting all the love in it.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Fruits of the spirit. Love and
That's how we make it with love. We ain't
Mhm.
rushing anything, right? Giving you all the love. All right. All right, we're almost there. We're at 50. And like I said, for my deodorant, when I'm making it, sometimes I put it at 50 just because of how the deodorant sets at the time. But we're not doing it for this. So just a little bit more. Is there any question while we are
Yeah.
there?
While you're waiting for the next 5 degrees to come off, Sister Anisha asked, how do you know how much percentage of one ingredient to use for a particular recipe? Like what percentage of one oil as opposed to another?
All right, so that's a very good question. So when you are formulating, and as a formulator, like I said, you're going to test your ingredients. So you're doing an experiment, right? But there are certain, like, let's say, points to say, okay, you can't use, for example, let me give you an example. When I'm making my lotion, you cannot use more than about maybe 20, at most 25% of oil. So you do have percentage cutoff point for some things that you're making. It just depends on what you're making, right? But like for this balm, it just depends on you right now. So I want to use more jojoba oil than sunflower oil because jojoba oil is the oil that is near to your skin sebum, right? And so I like to use that oil, but it can be a pretty bit pricey. But yeah, so you use your favorite oil, you use based on what you want to use, right? Now, just know I find out over the years experimenting that 18%, which is 18 grams, I remember we're adding up everything to 100, of beeswax gives you a good consistency of your balm that you want to make, right? So once you have that 18 grams of beeswax down pack, and we know about the essential oil, they can't use too much. We know we can't use too much vitamin E oil and like I said, manufacturers. So you ask, how do you know? Check your manufacturer's instruction. As again, they will tell you how much of the vitamin E oil to use. And normally it's anything between 0.5 to 1%, right? Sometimes you have 0.2% in an ingredient, right? So it just depends. So I believe I am where I'm at now. So let's quickly pour these in. Let me check, and then we get back to the questions. So I'm okay. Yes. So you notice this kind of coming solidifying. So I'm just gonna put it right back on there. And I'm gonna pour my last ingredient in. And it says 0.2 vitamin E oil. Just a little bit. We'll give you that 0.2. All right. It's over a little bit, but that's fine. All right. And then you always tear when you're gonna put something else in there. Now the balsam of the pine is very strong. So I'm just gonna put a little of that, and then I top it off with my cedarwood essential oil, and that's it right there. Then I am going to stir And like, see, it's getting too thick for me. Like I said, you can just rinse it in the warm water. Rinse it in the warm water. Because it's off, your heat is off and all of that. And then you get ready to pour. So I'm gonna get ready to pour. Let me wipe. I want the water to catch in my thing when I'm pouring. And I'm taking it off here. So I'm just gonna pour it out in here. And I'm gonna leave it to set. And make sure when you're leaving it to set, it's not covered. You don't want to introduce any water into it. So this is it right here. Let me move this out the way so you can actually kind of see. So like I said, I just made 50 grams.
Could you move it a little bit to the
I'm
dropper
trying to,
bottle?
I'm trying to move these up the way so I can push it back. Right. It's too far? Right here?
It could be a little closer
Ready?
to the camera. Yeah, like right there.
Are you seeing it?
Yes, ma'am, we're seeing it.
All right. So that is it right there. You're not going to cover it. You need it to cool first. And then you can use it. Yeah. And that's it. I put a little on my hand. Right there. And you can see. Are you seeing it?
The shine. I see the shine.
Yes. Yes. So thank you all very much. That's all I have for today. We have come to the end of our presentation. Until next week.